Well, good morning. A very happy morning on this Friday. Coach John Kentera with you on our usual Monday, Wednesday, and Friday YouTube, Facebook, and X show. I'm very happy to be here today. I got to be honest with you. I had a hard time sleeping last night. I don't know why. I woke up at about 3:30, and I've been up pretty much since 3:30. I did a segment with Jason Ostel today on KUSI right around 7:45, but I'm just really excited, man. We got a lot of great baseball, and even where I'm at in my age now, I still get fired up and ready to roll with Padre baseball. And I think about tonight. You got the Boston Red Sox coming to town, a three-game series. They're playing great baseball. We'll give you more of a scouting report on them. But this really starts 16 games in 17 days for our Padres. Now, take a look at this. They've got three this weekend at home against Boston. Then they go on the road. They've got three on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in San Francisco. They get next Thursday off. Then they got the Dodgers rolling into town. Or, excuse me, they've got the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium for a three. So the Padres, after this weekend, they go on the road for three in San Francisco, three in LA. Then they come home. No off day. They've got the Giants for four, and then the Dodgers coming in on the weekend of the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. So between now and the 24th, 16 games in 17 days against quality opponents. So we're going to break it all down. We're going to get to your questions today. Want to remind everyone, if you're maybe tuning in for the very, very first time, very much appreciated if you would subscribe to our channel, trying to build our viewership. Please turn on your notifications. You can also follow me on Facebook at John Kentera and on X at Coach Kentera 44. And please send in your comments. We'll get to Coach's crew. We'll get to Coach's mailbag a little bit later on in the program, but we've got a lot to cover today on the program. And I want to start with Wednesday night. Now, I told you that I wasn't sure whether or not Fernando would play. I thought maybe you'd sit him down. I mean, he'd gone 0 for 6 the night before, really scuffling at the plate. And I read an article yesterday by Kevin Acey, and it threw all kinds of numbers, how Fernando's walk rate is up this year, his strikeout rate is down. They're doing this, they're doing that to him. I understand that. Okay, but Fernando's not having a great year. He's hit 4 home runs since June 1st. And we're expecting him to do more damage. I know he's been a leadoff hitter most of the year, but we expect Fernando, and I think the Padres expect Fernando to do more damage offensively. And they won't come out and say that. But he got to get rolling here. He really got to get rolling. He got 17 home runs, but he hit 13 of them very, very early in the year. And like I mentioned, since June 1st, he's hit 4. He's hit some doubles. He's got some stolen bases, but he's not having a great year. And so they gave him a night off. And I thought, maybe they'd pinch hit him. He didn't even have his jersey on the other night, it didn't look like. He looked kind of out of sorts, quite frankly. Watching him sit in the dugout, he just looked kind of out of it. So hopefully the day off the other night, the day off yesterday, hopefully he'll come back tonight against this very, very good Boston Red Sox team and be ready to play. Padres got out of there on Wednesday night. They eked out a 3-2 victory, and they're 13 games over 500 now, a season high, 2 games back of the Dodgers, really playing great baseball right now, 64 and 51. But they had to rally against the Diamondbacks the other night. They were down 2-1 in the ninth. Ryan O'Hearn leadoff homer to right center. Maybe that'll get him rolling. Tied the game, and then Jose Iglesias came up, 1 out, RBI single to make it 3-2. Mason Miller came in the bottom of the ninth, walked a batter, but struck out 3 and looked absolutely fantastic, by the way. I mean, he looked really unhittable. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who hit him for that home run the night before, man, he looked bad because Miller was throwing those breaking balls to him. He wasn't even close. And Miller picked up his first save in a Padre uniform. Let's talk about Nestor Cortez. Now, Nestor Cortez really had 2 different outings the other night. And I had no idea, and I don't think the Padres had any idea really what their expectation was of Nestor Cortez. I said, hey, if the guy could go 5 innings, that would be unbelievable. Well, he ended up going 4 2/3. But when you take a look at the way he started, and man, I'll tell you what, I'm going, oh my goodness gracious, what's going to go on here? This could be a disaster. First 7 Arizona hitters the other night, 3 for 5, a homer, and he hit 2 batters. And you're kind of wondering, man, is this guy going to help this ball club or is it going to be a complete wash? Well, you know what? He got a whole lot better. And the thing that I liked about him the other night was it looked like he was completely healthy. And that's been a big problem. I mean, he missed most of the year. He'd only made 2 starts all year long. And those were at the end of March and 1 start in April, and he was done. He'd been working down in AAA. He had that flexor tendon injury. And luckily, he was able to rebound from that. So he gets off to this really rough start the other night. And then after the first 7 hitters, the next 11 Arizona hitters went 0 for 9. They had a sac fly. They scored a run because of a base on balls. But I thought he ended up throwing great, and he looked good. Yeah, he was starting to hit his spots, starting to change speeds, moving guys off the plate. I'm very encouraged by what I saw out of Nestor Cortez the other night. I want your opinion on that. Now, Jason Adam came in, struck out all 4 batters he faced. Then they turned it over to Morejon. 2 solid innings, gave up 1 hit, and then Miller came in, walked 1, and struck out 3. So a great win on the road. Great win on the road. Take 2 out of 3. You don't have to sweep series. You just have to win series. If you get a sweep, all the better. But take 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3, and you're going to get to where you want to be at the end of the year, securely in the postseason. Now, offensively, the other night, it wasn't a great night. I mean, I look at the top 4 hitters, top 4 hitters the other night. Arise was 0 for 5. Laureano was 1 for 4. Jackson was 0 for 4. And Manny was 0 for 4. 1 for 17 the other night of the top 4 hitters. 1 for 17. But then the guys down at the bottom got the job done. I mean, O'Hearn ran into that ball. He was hitting 5th the other night. Xander Bogaerts continues to swing the bat. He had a double and a homer, his 9th of the year. Cronenworth 1 for 3, but had a great sac bunt. Iglesias had the RBI single and a walk. And then Freddie Fermin, the guy that I've been yelling and screaming about how much I was excited about him coming to San Diego, he went 3 for 4 the other night. And the Padres won it 3-2. They out-hit Arizona 9-4. They left 8 runners on, and they were only 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. But hey, you got out of there with a win. You'll take it, no question about it. Now I want to talk about the new guys, the 3 new offensive players. I talked about this the other day on Wednesday's podcast, and I'm not going to do this all the time, but I want to show the impact that these guys have already had in the short time they've been here in San Diego. Ramon Laureano has just been unbelievable. He's played 6 games. He's got 26 at bats. He's hitting 346, a double, 2 triples, a homer, and 5 RBIs, and an OPS right now of 1,024. Freddie Fermin, 5 games behind the plate, 16 at bats, 7 of 16, 438 average, 500 on base percentage, a 500 slug, a 1,000 OPS. He has got a double, 3 RBIs already, and has not struck out in 18 plate appearances. And I think, and you can give me your opinion, I think he's done a fantastic job behind the plate learning this staff. I mean, he has not missed a beat back there. It seems like he's in complete control. They couldn't have got a better catcher, and they've got him under control now for a few more years. So he'll be here next year for sure. Who knows where it'll go after that? But he's under control to like 2028, I believe, if not 2029. I mean, he's going to be here a while. So AJ can go into the offseason knowing he's got a frontline catcher for next year. And then Ryan O'Hearn, he's hit some balls hard. Doesn't have a lot to show for it, but man, that had to feel good the other night, hammering that ball out of the ballpark to tie it up in the 9th inning. So far in 5 games, he's 2 for 13, 3 strikeouts, hitting 154, but we know he's a lot better than that. So I'm not going to lose any sleep over Ryan O'Hearn. Okay, we got to talk about the Boston Red Sox. This is a really good team coming in. And they're red hot right now. They've won 8 of 10. They're 64-52. They haven't been a good road team, though. They've been great at Fenway Park like they normally are, 39-22. But on the road, they're 5 games under 500 at 25-30. Second place right now in the AL East. They're 4 games back at Toronto. Toronto is going to be at Dodger Stadium the next 3 days. And what a matchup tonight at Dodger Stadium. You got Max Scherzer going into the Hall of Fame, going against Clayton Kershaw, who's going into the Hall of Fame. And the Dodgers really reeling right now. They dropped 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals. They're really scuffling. But I look at Boston playing great. Jaron Duran, who we heard a lot about, because A.J. Preller was kind of in love with this guy, but couldn't get the deal done because Boston ended up not wanting to trade him. And one of the reasons they probably didn't want to trade him, not that he's an outfielder, he's an infielder, but Marcelo Mayer, the young man out of Eastlake High School, out the rest of the year with a wrist injury. And so they didn't want to trade Duran. And Duran, I'm looking at his numbers this morning, and I had to look twice. No, seriously, when I was writing down notes, I had to look twice at his numbers. He's hitting 264. He's got 31 doubles, but he's got 12 triples along with 12 home runs and 64 RBIs. 12 triples. That tells you how this guy can run, man. He can flat out run. Another guy that's had an incredible bounce back year, who missed most of his career so far since signing with them from Colorado, Trevor Story. Remember the shortstop a few years back from Colorado, Trevor Story? Well, he's back this year and putting up some nice numbers. He's hitting 261 with 18 bombs and 73 RBIs. They've got a young center fielder by the name of Cedane Rafaela hitting 264, 14 homers, 51 RBIs. Alex Bregman's back, having a big year. He missed 43 games with a right quad strain, but he's hitting 294 with 14 homers, 45 RBIs, and we know he's a great defender down there. Their outfielder, Wilyer Abreu, hitting 20 homers and 62 RBIs. And the young guy they just signed to that big deal the other day, 8 years, $130 million, Roman Anthony. Off to a very nice start in his career. Hadn't been up all that long, hitting 276 with 2 homers and 19 RBIs. They've got a really, really good team. And it's going to be an interesting weekend on the mound for the Padres. They start off tonight, 6:40. The games are Friday night, 6:40, Saturday, 5:40, Sunday, 1:10. So we got the traditional start times this week. But tonight, Boston going to send the former Dodger, guy that really was a big World Series hero for the Dodgers last year, Walker Buehler, 6-6 and a 5.74, going against Padres' best starter this year, Nick Pivetta, 11-3 and a 2.73. And then tomorrow night, a really interesting matchup. Right-hander Lucas Giolito, 8-2 and a 3.57, coming off a fantastic start last time out, going to go against Michael King. Michael King is going to be back. And I really don't know what to expect from Michael. You know, he had a rough go in his AAA start last week, but that's AAA. And we'll see how it goes. But he's going to be on the mound. King, before he went down, 4-2 and a 2.59. One of the better pitchers in baseball a year ago, and was off to a great start until he had that impingement in his shoulder. But he's back, throwing free and easy, and we'll see how deep he can go into the ball game tomorrow night and see how effective he is. He may be so pumped up. Going to be another sellout crowd tomorrow night. And he may be pumped up trying to do a little too much, but hopefully, you know, being a veteran, hopefully he can keep those emotions under control and go out there and give a solid start. And then Sunday afternoon, it'll be right-hander Brian Balow, 8-5, a 3.03 ERA. He got electric stuff. He can be really, really good. At times he can get a little wild, but he is really, really talented guy. And the Padres will counter with a right-hander Dylan Cease, 4-10 and a 4.60. And of course, Dylan Cease pitching much, much better recently. You know, I just wanted to take a look and kind of give you the schedule ahead. I already mentioned it a little bit, but after Sunday's game, the Padres will fly immediately to San Francisco. And they got 3 games up there, Monday and Tuesday night. Both those games are going to start at 6:45. The Wednesday game will be at 12:45. The Padres will be off next Thursday, August 14th. Then they'll be at Dodger Stadium on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon. Start times for the Dodger series at Chavez Ravine will be 7:10, 6:10, and 1:10. Then the Padres come right back home, and they got a 4-game series against the San Francisco Giants, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, and then Thursday afternoon. So all Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 6:40. Thursday will be 1:10. And then Friday, the Dodgers roll into town, and those will be the final 3 games against the Dodgers this year, 6:40, 5:40, and 1:10. And then the Padres are done with the Dodgers. And I really think over the next 16 games, we're going to have a better idea where the Padres are going to fare. I read yesterday in CBS Sportsline, Matt Snyder wrote an article. You may want to go online. Matt Snyder's a very detailed writer, does a great job. And he was talking about how, hey, the Padres got a chance to win this division. 3 weeks ago, they had no chance. You go back to July 4th, seriously, July 4th, the Padres were 9 games back of the Dodgers. And as we sit here on this Friday morning, they're 2 games back. Dodgers are probably still the favorite. They're very, very talented. They're trying to get all their guys back healthy. Mookie Betts trying to get his bat rolling. They got Max Muncy back. He had a big game the other night against the Cardinals. But we got a chance to win our first division title since 2006. And I take a look at this weekend with Boston here. And the Padres have not played well against the American League this year at all, and especially against the American League East. And I'll give you a couple of numbers on that in a minute. But I also look at the Dodgers this week, and they got to play against Toronto. Toronto's red hot. I mean, thank you, Colorado, for getting the Blue Jays red hot. I don't know if you saw that series between Toronto and Colorado. It was just unbelievable. The amount of runs and the amount of hits that Toronto put up against the poor Colorado Rockies. But they're red hot, and they've been playing great baseball, and they're leading the American League East right now and just playing super baseball. So we'll see what happens this weekend. Who knows? Padres come in, do a job this weekend. Toronto does a job on the Dodgers. Who knows? Maybe we could talk about a first place tie, or who knows? Maybe even the Padres will be up by a game by the time I join you Monday morning at 9 a.m. We'll have to wait and see on that. You know, I mentioned numbers, and the Padres against the American League this year have been awful. They're 14 and 19, but against the American League East, they're 1 and 8. So, they got to turn that around. The other thing I was going to mention, I like to go month by month how a team is playing because I've always said, and I think good baseball people always say, it's not who you play, it's when you play them. And you have the peaks and valleys throughout the course of the year. We know the Padres got off to a red start. March they went 5-0. April they went 14 and 11. Then they slowed down. You take a look at May, they were 13 and 13. They had a losing month in June of 13 and 15, and then they bounced back and had a great July at 15 and 10. And they're off to a good start in the month of August. They're 4 and 2 right now. So playing much better. And hey, let's face it, we got a lot of new guys on this ball club, folks. A lot of new guys on this ball club. Okay, let's take a look at the standings. Let's start off with the National League standings. We're going to also give you the American League standings, and we're going to be getting out to Coach's crew here momentarily. Okay, we'll go with National League. We got Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia and Milwaukee, quite frankly, are probably the two best teams right now in the National League. I mean, Philadelphia playing great. They've got that pedigree. They've been there, done that. They haven't won the World Series, and they're still hungry for that. But sitting at 65 and 49, 2.5 game lead over the Mets. Can't figure that Mets team out. They're kind of a weird team to figure out. They got one hit the other day, and Soto. This was typical. Soto broke up Williams' no hitter for the Guardians. And they're going to get beat, yet Soto's running around the bases coming in with a big smile on his face. I don't know. If I had a home run, I broke up a guy's no-hitter. If I was going to smile, I think I'd wait till I got to the dugout or to the clubhouse. I mean, you're getting beat. That kind of summed up Juan Soto for me a little bit. But nonetheless, Philadelphia leading by 2.5 over the Mets. Milwaukee playing great baseball. 4 games up on the Cubbies. Don't count out the Cubs. They're a very talented ball club. The Reds trying to hang in there. Not so much in the division, but they're in the wild card. We'll get into that in a minute. And then, of course, right now, I think it's a 2-team race. I don't think the Giants can really get back in the division. They certainly could get back in the wild card, but they're 8 games back. And so it's a 2-team race in the West. Let's take a look at the National League wild card. And this is what I'm excited about. I hope the Padres can overtake the Dodgers. But as far as the wild card in the National League, they're sitting in pretty good shape right now. They would really have to spit the bit to miss the playoffs, I think. Cubs right now in securely at 3.5 up. The Padres a game up right now over the Mets. And then you got Cincinnati only 3.5 games back, and the Giants only 5 games back. And of course, the Padres and Giants hook up 7 times here in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see how that goes. And the Cardinals 5.5 back. Cardinals really played pretty doggone good against the Dodgers, taking 2 out of 3. Okay, let's jump over to the American League. Take a look at the AL and see how that's shaping up right now. The Blue Jays a 4-game lead. The Yankees 6.5 back. How about that? Yankees 6.5 back. And when I was at Scott Miller's services the other day, the talk, and I think I shared this with you on Wednesday, is that Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman may get canned at the end of the year. Boy, Cashman's been there over 25 years. That would be interesting. And then in the AL Central, Detroit has slowed down. And the Guardians are playing pretty good right now, but I still think Detroit too big a lead to overcome there. Guardians are hanging in there. And then in the West is going to be a great race because you got everybody playing pretty well right now, except Houston. They've been stumbling a little bit lately, but right now they've got a 1.5 game lead over Seattle. Seattle won in walk-off fashion yesterday over the White Sox. Bruce Bochy's team playing much better baseball at 60-56. 4.5 games back, and then the Halos at 55-60. I think they're going to miss the playoffs once again this year. Okay, let's take a look at the American League wild card and see how that's shaping up right now. Okay, in the wild card, the Boston Red Sox, the team we're going to see here at Petco Park the next 3 days, leading in the wild card in the American League. You got the Mariners, you got the Yankees, and look at that. Cleveland, a 1.5 game back. Texas, a 1.5 game back. Boch will find a way to get his team in the playoffs, I would imagine. Kansas City, 4 games back. Tampa Bay, 4.5 back. And the Halos, 6 games back. So there you have it. Yeah, I'm hoping Boch can get in because I have a feeling this could be Boch's last year. That's just an inkling I'm getting right now. I don't think he'll manage after this year, but who knows? You never know about Boch. I did tell him after he supposedly retired from the Giants. I told him when they were in San Diego the last time he was managing the Giants, I go, Boch, I have a feeling we're going to see you back in the big leagues here in the not too distant future. And he just kind of got a big old grin. I knew he was going to come back. And I had stayed in contact with him throughout the course of when he was away because I knew he wanted to get back. And the Giants wanted to go a different direction. And I think Boch was happy to take a little bit of a vacation. Okay, let's get to Coach's Crew. We got a lot of questions today. A lot of questions. Let's start rolling those questions. I love questions, folks. That's why I do this show, is to hear from you fans out there. All right. Oh, man, right out of the gate, $4.99. Thank you very much, O2RR. Very much appreciate that. Happy Friday, Coach. What do you think about Laureano batting 5th, O'Hearn 6th, and Bogart 7th, regardless if it's a left-hand starter or a right-hand starter? I really don't have much of a problem with it. I think the big thing, I think we already have seen Laureano's going to play and play a lot. Bogart is really playing great baseball right now. He's having a real good year, I think. Nobody can complain about Bogarts. O'Hearn, I think you're going to have a hard time finding spots for him. Where do you play him? Is he going to be the DH? He's not going to take the outfield spots regularly, I don't think. You're going to eventually give Laureano a day off and you run O'Hearn in there against maybe a right-hand pitcher. But the thing about Laureano hits right-handers really well. He's one of the best right-handed hitters in all of baseball this year against right-handed pitching. Think about that. He was number 2 in all of baseball as a right-hand hitter going against right-handed pitching when the Padres consummated that deal last week with Baltimore. So how about Gavin Sheets? Is Gavin Sheets banged up a little bit? I mean, he's put in the witness protection program right now, and he's done a good job. He's done a good job. So I don't know what they're going to do. Mike Schilt is going to have to, try to keep these guys sharp because you cannot put these guys in the cooler. You got to keep these guys moving in and out. You got to keep them going because you can't, not play guys and then come to the playoffs and need a pinch hitter and expect the guy to deliver. You got to keep them sharp. Unless Gavin Sheets is hurt and nobody's saying anything, we haven't seen him in a while. I mean, Bryce Johnson came in on defense the other night, and he was, he's a 5th outfielder. Well, let's say he's a guy that can pinch run and play defense, and he's actually surprisingly swung the bat pretty well. He's hitting .333 in his short opportunities right now. But I have no problem with that batting order. But we'll see what Mike Schilt decides to do. He's got a lot of things to navigate right now. But thank you very much. Very much appreciate that, Super. That's very, very kind. Okay, Canithlopus. I've been looking at the 2026 roster, who we retain, and the additions needed. I think we're a contender next year, Coach. We'll need a number 1 through 3 type starting pitcher. What's the budget going to be for next year? Do we know? Well, I know they raised ticket prices by 7%. I don't know if that matters or not. Um, I have no idea. I don't expect Michael King, even though he's got a player option for next year at 15 million. He gets a $3.5 million buyout. If he comes back healthy, he's opting out of that deal. Dylan Cease won't be back. You got, I don't know about Cortez. You re-sign him. I don't know what his deal is. I haven't looked at his deal. JP Sears, for whatever. Hopefully he's better next time out once he gets recalled. And he'll get recalled. And we'll probably see kind of a different pitch mix out of him. But he's under control for 2028. So you got him. You've got Musgrove coming back, and I'm sure Joe will be on an inning restriction. You got Pavetta. You got Randy Vasquez. You got Kyle Hart, who was under a 1-year contract. I don't know if they'll bring him back. You're going to have some opportunities to go out and spend some money if you want, but I don't know who the Padres are going to go after. They do have a catcher for next year, so that's going to save some money, and he's not going to break the bank. And then you're going to, whether or not you bring back Elias Diaz, I would tend to doubt that. You may want to go out and look for a left-hand hitting catcher. And what are you going to do with a Rise? I can't believe people were calling for a Rise on the silver platter the other night. He'd been struggling with runners in scoring position, but man, that double steal the other night made no sense to me with a Rise at the plate. I know there was a left-hander on the mound, but you know what? Let a Rise swing the bat. I mean, let a Rise swing the bat. This is not high school baseball or college baseball. If you want to do that when you've got your eighth or ninth guy up, fine, but don't do it when you got the guy that was leading off the other night, a Rise. Let him swing the bat. I thought that was a bad call by Mike Schilt. I didn't like that call at all. Hey, you can run that every once in a while. You run it a lot in high school. You run it a lot in college. Occasionally, you run it in the big leagues. But I thought that was a bad call the other night, in my opinion. But that's what I got on the starting pitchers for next year. Okay, keep them rolling. Big Sam Sanford. Good morning, Coach from St. George, Utah. I like St. George. I don't have great memories there because I went up there and played Southern Utah and got killed when I was in college. I had a decent game, but not a great game. Coach, hope you're doing well. I'm worried about Sheets being kept in the cooler. I know there's a lot of new faces, but I don't want them to get cold on the bench. I agree with you. I agree. That's why I just mentioned that a minute ago. You got to get him in the lineup some way, shape, or form. And occasionally, you know what? If you want to keep Jackson fresh and he's starting to swing the bat, Laureano can play center field. And you against a right-handed pitcher, if you wanted to give Jackson a night off, hey, put Sheets in left, put O'Hearn in right, and let Laureano play center field. I don't have a problem with that. Not at all. Fernando can get a night off occasionally again. I think I'm very anxious to see how Fernando is going to respond tonight. Because, man, look at him in the dugout the other night. He looked like he was in the ozone layer. I don't know what's going on with him. But that's my call on that. I want to see Sheets play. Sheets has been a big part of this ball club. And, I kind of look at Sheets and O'Hearn as kind of similar. O'Hearn's got a lot more experience than Sheets, but they're very similar in a lot of ways for me. All right, what else we got? Sam, thank you very much. Hopefully they can rest a Rise some down the stretch and give Sheets some starts there. You know what? O'Hearn can play first base. I don't think Sheets is a great first baseman. I could play O'Hearn there a little bit if you need to give a Rise a day off. I would do that. But I still think a Rise is going to get hot here. I got a lot of confidence down the stretch. He's going to smell another batting title. Now, Will Smith got him by quite a few points. Will Smith's hitting, about 318 right now? Nobody else really even close to Will Smith, but I could see Will Smith coming back to the pack, and I could see a rise ascending. I can see a rise sniffing a fourth batting title in a row. We'll have to wait and see on that. But Sheets has got to get a little playing time somewhere along the line. Maybe he's been banged up and they haven't said anything. Casey King, good morning, Coach, and happy Friday. Who do you think right now is going to, down the stretch, is the two best teams in the National League and AL? Also, good luck to San Diego Strike Force tonight's playoff game. Yeah, I'm going to mention that. They play tonight over in Vegas. We'll get into that here before too long. As far as the two teams, I think the two best teams right now in the National League, I think, are Philadelphia and Milwaukee. Obviously, you can't rule out the Dodgers. You can't rule out the Padres. I wouldn't rule out the Cubs. I'm not big on the Mets. I'm not big on the Mets. I think the Padres can do some damage. You get in the tournament, you can do some damage. Hey, let's face it. Until the Padres made this deal, they were a fringe playoff team. I said that in a tweet. They were a fringe playoff. Now they're a real legitimate contender again. And they got some guys that are hungry here. So I'm feeling pretty good. The American League, I think Toronto's looked really good. And I think taking a look at the pitching staff in Detroit, even though they've kind of come back to the pack a little bit in the division, I think Detroit's probably the best team in the American League. But I think Toronto's right there. And this Boston team's right there. This Boston team, I think, has surprised a lot of people. They've played really, really good baseball. So that's kind of my take on that case. Okay, keep them coming. Big Rich McGuire. Hope Pavetta is geeked up to beat his old team tonight. I would imagine. So hopefully he's not too geeked up. Hey, Rich, I know where you sit. I've sat in those seats with you before. How about that another 7% raise? How do you feel about that? They keep raising the prices. All you loyal fan, man, they keep raising the prices. But hey, you know what? People keep buying. They got a waiting list for season tickets. But yeah, man, over 50% the last 5 years. That's a lot. And that is a lot, isn't it? I think that's priced out a lot of people. Not everybody can afford that. Not everybody can afford that. And I'm a big kids guy. I like kids going to the ball game, and hopefully there's affordable tickets. They can bring campers out like they always do in the summer. You got to expose kids to Major League Baseball. They're the fans of the future. They're the fans of the future. So yeah, hopefully Nick doesn't get too fired up tonight and try to throw 112 miles an hour. But he's a good competitor, and he has just had such a good year to this point. Okay, Padres by the numbers, and really, I think more than anything else, and I already shared a few of those as far as month by month. But the big number for me is you got to hit with runners in scoring position. I think they've gotten a little bit better. The biggest thing with this ball club is the 7, 8, and 9 spot. Even Cronenworth's starting to swing the bat a little bit better. But the bottom part of this order is a big reason they won that series over in Arizona. They're getting great contributions from the 7, 8, ninth guy. And Iglesias has played great baseball all year. I mean, his average isn't what he would like it to be, but for what his role is on this team, doing a great job. And that double play he turned the other night, where he tagged the bag and threw across the infield. I mean, Machado would have made that probably, but maybe not. You never know. But Iglesias, really, he has as good a hands as anybody in baseball. And that's been pretty much known for the last decade plus. He's done a great job. Bogarts is playing great baseball, folks. And hopefully he continues to work with Victor Rodriguez. They've really been working on trying to get his lower half, getting that backside rotation, to get that barrel through the hitting area a little bit quicker and stay on the ball a little bit longer. But man, I was looking at his numbers. He's got 9 homers now. I mean, he got 25 doubles and played a great shortstop. He's only made a total of 6 errors to this point. Okay, what else we got today? We got a lot of things to cover, man. I got to be, I wrote up notes after notes after notes. Oh, yeah, we're going to get you a little Aztec football report, and we're going to remind you about tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, the big SD Collectibles show down at Liberty Station, and I bring on my partner in crime here, Jonathan Olivieri, who's got a little update on Aztec football, and he'll give us all the stats and stories of what we need to know about Saturday and Sunday down at Liberty Station. Mr. Olivieri, how are you this morning?
Hey, good morning, Coach. I'm great. How are you?
Good. Hey, what's that picture you have behind you? Is that a Charger picture?
Check that out. Old school Chargers.
Oh yeah, very
Some
nice.
Fouts, Jefferson.
Yeah, you got John Jefferson. You know that my dad's cousin Larry Kentera, who's 100 years old right now, he recruited John Jefferson to Arizona State.
Oh, wow.
And he also lived in a hotel room for 30 days to protect Jefferson from being recruited by the University of Texas.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, man, I wasn't around to watch him play live, but man, the highlights, he was something else. I wish they would have figured out a way to hang on to him.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. If he would have stayed in San Diego, he would have been a Hall of Famer. He went to Green Bay and became the second receiver behind James Lofton. He was the second guy. He started, but James Lofton was the guy, and James Lofton the guy that's in the Hall of Fame. If Jefferson, I'm guaranteed, if Jefferson would have stayed in San Diego, he along with Charlie Joyner, Kellen Winslow, they would have been all in the Hall of Fame together. But he went to Green Bay. His career never was the same. And we got Wes Chandler, who was actually probably a better athlete than John Jefferson.
Yeah, it worked out for us. Not very well for him, but it ended up working out for the Chargers. Not too bad. So
exactly. Yeah. Hey, give me some info on the Aztecs. A lot of things going on. I know they scrimmaged towards the end of practice yesterday. Luckily, they got out practice yesterday in that scrimmage with no injuries, but they got a lot of stuff coming up here in the next week.
Yeah, and a lot of competition this offseason. A few things I'll talk about kind of to preface some things. The quarterback, I'll give you a couple good players to watch out for this year, and then kind of talk about some guys on offense and defense to watch out for. But yeah, they scrimmaged yesterday. I'll be out at some at FanFest next week, and then for some of the post-practice interviews next week as well. But yeah, the quarterback battle, which is obviously the main one that everybody across all levels of football want to pay attention to each year, and one that last year Sean Lewis was really quiet about. He didn't really give any information, and things were all pretty hush-hush until a week or two before that first game. And we're kind of seeing a similar thing right now as all the quarterbacks but one, Kyle Crum, transferred out last year or graduated. So we have Jaden Denagle, Bert Emanuel Jr., Kyle Crum. I think those are kind of your three that are in the mix. But I would believe it'd be between Denagle and Emanuel Jr. Denagle was at Michigan. He was a 2-year backup there. He was there when they won the national championship in 2023 as well. And he started 7 games over those 2 years here and there. And then Bert Emanuel Jr., who was at Central Michigan, they played them last year. So I'm sure Sean Lewis was probably had a good eye on him then. But yeah, he hasn't had as much experience as Jaden Denagle, but he's gotten in quite a bit. And he's has some playing time under his belt. So I would believe it'd be between those two guys there. I throw Crum in there just because he knows the system from last year. But yeah, we're just kind of waiting to see who's gonna win that job, and I don't think we'll know anything until probably maybe right after the Fan Fest before that first game.
Hey, tell me about Fan Fest. Going to be at Snapdragon Stadium?
Yep. Yeah. So next Thursday, the 14th. So it's free entry, and it's just $10 to park there at Snapdragon Stadium. Free entry. I believe the gates for the parking lot open at 5. 6 o'clock is when you can get into the stadium, and then 7:05 is the kickoff. So it'll be a good time, and it'll be cool for Aztec fans to be able to go out and Snapdragon. It's exactly 2 weeks from that first game, and kind of see the squad. If you're a season ticket holder, though, if you haven't heard, you're able to go down and watch some of the practices on campus. So sort of a little perk for the season ticket holders. That was announced a couple weeks ago at Coach Lewis's press conference. So they've been able to be down there and kind of get an inside look at the team as well, kind of before this Fan Fest.
Yesterday morning about 7:30, because I didn't have anything else to do yesterday morning, I texted Jamie McConaughey. the sports information director at San Diego State, and I said, "Hey, Jamie, what's the word? Do we know when the game against Stony Brook on the 28th is going to kick off?" He goes, "No, we're going to know either by the end of this week or early next week." But I'm going to tell you what, if they're doing Fan Fest at 7:05 on a Thursday night, that could be the time they're looking at right now. I know they're trying to finalize, probably trying to get this game on TV because I don't think it's been scheduled with any network right now. But that tells me that Sean Lewis probably wants to get his team feeling comfortable playing 7:05, because normally in a scrimmage you'd play at 5 o'clock, you'd be out of there by 7:30, 8 o'clock. But he probably wants to get his team, bring the bus down and go through all the stuff you're going to do prior. It's going to be kind of almost like a dress rehearsal, this scrimmage, I would imagine.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, like you mentioned, no game time yet. I was looking at the schedule of some of the other games, and we have times for pretty much all of them. There's a few ones later in the year, like Hawaii, at Hawaii and Fresno State, that we don't have times for yet. But other than that, looking at it, they're all pretty much locked in. A good matchup that's the second to last week is Boise State at Snapdragon, so that'll be a good one to watch out for. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. 3-9 last year, so the roster's a lot more improved. They brought in some great players, and they lost a few good ones too. On offense, Marcus Cooper, the running back, he was obviously a key part of the offense last year. Got a ton of touches. So the running back room is one that I was going to talk about today, and we'll kind of see. I think it's kind of the time for Lucky Sutton to shine, who's somebody who, people around San Diego have heard that name. He's been pretty patient, waiting his time out here at SDSU, just working hard. And I think this could be the year that Aztecs fans could see him on the Mesa quite a bit.
I'm glad you brought up Lucky's name. Lucky has been extremely patient. I think a lot of lesser men would have probably transferred out with his athletic ability. I hope he has a great year. I hope he can stay injury-free. Also, you got two other San Diegans vying to carry the pigskin, Christian Washington out of Helix, who transferred in, and Byron Cardwell, a young man that played at St. Augustine, and then he finished up down at Morse, and he was at Oregon and Cal. And so you got three guys from San Diego, and hopefully they all stay healthy and they all are able to contribute this year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just like you said, especially with today's atmosphere in college football where players, if they don't get the ball right away, they're transferring out. So a guy like Lucky has definitely
hey, John,
been very patient.
I don't. Maybe I'm a Neanderthal and archaic, but I still love Aztec football. It's been a couple of really tough years. You mentioned the 3-9. They go into this year having lost 6 straight. Okay, and there were some guys that jumped ship, and there are new guys that come in. I'm optimistic. I know they've been picked to finish 8th in the Mountain West Conference. Next year they'll be in the Pac-12, but I'm optimistic. You get a signal caller in there that can hum the ball around the field a little bit. You play a little defense. I'm hoping for the best this year, and I'm looking forward to being in that press box, eating a hot dog next to you on that opening night.
Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be an exciting season. They return some good players on defense too. So, that's huge. Trey White, who was having a monster year last year. Tana Latuli. They have a couple of hard hitters in the secondary, and Bryce Phillips and Chris Johnson. So it'll be an exciting year to see, what Lewis can do and how they can hopefully win some more games.
Yeah, they got to win some more games. There's no question about that. Okay, quick reminder for everybody about tomorrow, Saturday, and again on Sunday down at Liberty Station. You got 120 vendors coming. Give them all the information they need. I was texting some of my buddies yesterday that are into collectibles. Now, I actually sent them your little flyer. So give everybody the update on. You also got another show. You can mention that real quick as well. But tell us about this weekend.
Yeah, so this weekend is the big show. It's a 2-day show, Saturday and Sunday, as you mentioned, down at Liberty Station at the Conference Center. So it's 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. both days. There's going to be 120 vendor tables there. I'll be there myself as well, both days. And yeah, it's just, if you're into sports cards or collectibles, or if your kids are into sports cards or even Pokemon or any of that, it's going to be a great time. You'll want to come out, check it out, Tickets are on sale right now at sdcollectibles.com. It's down on the ticker there going, but yeah, you can go in there and buy your weekend pass. If you buy it online, it's half off. It's only $10 for both days, so $5 a day, and that's going to get you in ahead of everybody else. You're going to be able to get in at 9:30. So the show starts at 10. So while everybody else is waiting in line who hasn't bought theirs yet, you're going to be ready to go. You're going to get in there early. You're going to have 30 minutes pretty much to find whatever deals and kind of beat everybody who's still waiting outside to the punch. But yeah, it's a great time. You yourself went out.
Oh, it was great.
Your son-in-law and grandson, and that was at the Handlery Hotel, which there is one later this month as well on the 23rd, I believe. But yeah, it's a great time, and then you're right there by Liberty Station. So it's been a hot few days, so it'll be nice to be down there where it's nice and cool.
Well, good luck this weekend with that, and good luck covering the Aztecs. And we're going to have regular updates on the John Kentera Show. Big Aztec fan. Heck, I called Aztec games for a number of years. First started out as a sideline reporter early in my career, and then I got in the booth for about 7 years and really enjoyed traveling with the team, eating with the team, and Coach Tolner and Coach Kraft and Coach Long always made me feel a part of the team. So looking forward to Aztec football, and good luck with the card show, and we'll let everyone know when the next one's coming up as well.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate it. Thank you.
There you go. Jonathan Olivieri. And again, we're going to talk a lot of Aztec football. We're going to always lead with Padres, but we're going to talk a lot of Aztec football. Okay, I wanted to mention this weekend, this is going to be interesting. Jen Powell this weekend will become the first female umpire to umpire a Major League Baseball game. She's going to umpire tomorrow, scheduled to make her Major League debut. Going to be a doubleheader. She's going to work the bases. And then on Sunday, she's going to call balls and strikes in the series Miami at Truist Field against the Atlanta Braves. I think this is great. 28 years ago, the NBA had a lady by the name of Violet Palmer. She refereed. We see female referees in the NBA, which I would think is just tougher than hell. Those guys bitch about every call. I mean, they don't even, if they hammer somebody, they bitch. But Violet Palmer broke the female women barrier back in 28 years ago in the NBA. And then Sarah Thomas broke it in the NFL 10 years ago. And now finally, Major League Baseball is going to have a female umpire, Jen Powell, who's got a great pedigree. And she's a great softball player at Hofstra. Got into softball umpiring. And Ted Barrett, the former Major League umpire, saw her and invited her to one of those umpiring schools down in Florida. And she's gone to the minor league and she's worked her way up. And I didn't realize this till I was reading the story. I remember Pam Postum, who many years ago, back in the 90s, was a AAA umpire. And she did some work in spring training, never got the call to the big leagues. And Pam Postuma now, I was looking up stuff on her the other day. She's 71 years of age. But there's 8 women working in minor league baseball right now. And Jen Powell's going to be the first woman ever to umpire a Major League Baseball game. And I wish her the best. And it sounds like she's done everything possible to get there. And she started out doing softball. She's a great softball player, by the way. And did softball and just kind of worked her way up. And then Ted Barrett found her and said, hey, let's go to umpiring school. She got a job in the minor league, just kind of worked her way up and working AAA the last few years. So I think this is really cool. And I think it's motivating. I've seen a lot of female umpires, not so much in baseball, but in softball. And they run the show. And I think this is great. It'll be very interesting to see how the managers and players react to her. It'd be very interesting on that. Okay, we got to get to the San Diego Strike Force. And I got to be honest, I'm a little bummed. They're playing tonight for the Western Conference Championship over at Lee Family Forum in Henderson, Nevada against the Vegas Nighthawks. The Nighthawks upset the number 1 seed Bay Area Panthers last weekend, and the Strike Force won Monday night and that's a whole other issue. They won Monday night 49-48. They won on the last play of the game. There was a flag thrown. The referees looked at the film. They picked it up, and then the league came out after Arizona filed a protest, said, yeah, there were three people moving on the offensive side of the ball for San Diego. Well, there was also a defensive player moving on the side of the ball for Arizona. But nonetheless, they kept the score 49-48. Arizona, defending champ, out. San Diego win. Well, the game was supposed to be played this weekend at the new Front Wave Arena. And I don't know the real story. I know there's a big concert on Saturday, but I don't know about tonight or Sunday. I don't know what's going on. But the league moved the game to Vegas. And think about this. San Diego, they win this emotional game on Monday night. Then they don't travel back to San Diego until Tuesday. And they're here, Tuesday, probably late afternoon, Wednesday, probably left this morning to play tonight over in Vegas. They're barely back in San Diego, and now they got to play again, 4 days later. To me, that seems a little unfair. But the reason I'm bummed for the fans because for the first time in the Strike Force history, and that started in 2019, they've actually created a really nice fan base. In the last game against Arizona, the last regular season game, it'll be 2 weeks ago this Sunday, they had a great crowd. They had the best crowd in franchise history. So everybody was geeked up, hoping that Vegas would upset Bay Area and that then the Strike Force would beat Arizona and we get this home game. And then right after the game the other night, it was announced the game's going to be in Vegas. And I don't know the whole story. I don't know if I'll ever know the whole story. But Steve Quiz and I, who do the games and have done the games ever since the inception of the franchise in 2019, we're all excited about calling the championship Western Conference game. So now, we'll end up watching it on YouTube tonight. So hopefully they can win. They win that. They would play the winner of Green Bay and Quad City on August 23rd over in Tucson. That's where the IFL title game will be this year. So I really like arena football. I was a big proponent of trying to get a franchise back here. We had the Riptide. We had the Shockwave for a very short time. But I really like indoor football. And the Strike Force have definitely made a lot of strides. And I'm pulling for them tonight. I got to be honest. I'm pulling for them tonight. Okay, let's get to Coach's mailbag. A few questions from last show. We do it all on this show, don't we? We do it all on this show. We can talk about everything. We need to get into soccer maybe a little bit as well. All right. The Land Fandom. Excited to see this series versus Boston. Amen to that. Do you think the new squad will be tested the most here? Yeah, I think they're going to be tested over the next 16 games. If you're a baseball fan, I don't care whether you're a Padre fan, Red Sox fan, Dodger fan, Giant fan. I'm going to tell you what, next 16 games the Padres play, they're must-see games. Those games up at Oracle Park are always tough, and they seem like they always take longer. A lot of drama in those games at Oracle Park, and then let alone the Dodger series. But take it one game at a time, one game at a time. Don't put the cart before the horse. But, man, the next 16 games, it's going to be like playoff baseball. And we're going to really have an idea. After those 16, we're going to have an idea whether or not the Padres really can win this division or not. I mean, they've not fared well against the Dodgers this year. They're 2-5 so far. But we got a new ball club. Dodgers scuffling. We're starting to put the heat on the Dodgers a little bit. Little bit right now, I think. But they're trying to get a bunch of guys healthy. They're trying to get Tanner Scott back. Blake Trinan's back, but he hadn't pitched very well from what I've seen. They're trying to get Kopech back. He had meniscus surgery. Remember how they said Roki Sasaki was done for the year? Well, apparently he's not done for the year, and they're trying to get him back as well. And, Kershaw and Gonsolin, I don't think is coming back. But Glasnow's come back and pitched very well. Yamamoto's fantastic. When Yamamoto's on, his ball like disappears. That fork ball he throws, split finger fastball, or his breaking ball, I mean, it like disappears. But if he's up in the zone a little bit, guys can get him. Sometimes that fork ball kind of has a little bit of a hump and guys get to him. But if he keeps that from thigh, started at the thigh and sinks, man, he's tough. But I think over the next 16 games, we're going to find out whether or not we can really win this division. And again, we haven't won the division since 2006. All right, what else we got here? June, how do you think the upcoming series versus the Dodgers will go? I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'll have a better idea to answer that probably next Thursday. I just want to see where we're at. I want to make sure we're healthy. What will be interesting, and I think the way the pitching's match up, we're going to have our big guns going against them. We got Pivetta going tonight. I would imagine Pivetta may throw probably the Wednesday game. Who knows? They may save Pivetta for Saturday or Friday night because remember the Padres are off next Thursday. I would think if Pivetta was thrown tonight, I would think he would throw the final game in San Francisco. But the Padres got a lot of arms now, and they could bring Randy Vasquez back up if they wanted to do that and save Pivetta for Game 1 at Dodger Stadium a week from tonight. But I would imagine Pivetta and King and Cease are going to throw that series up at Dodger Stadium the way I'm looking at it right now. We'll see. The Padres, I guarantee you, the Padres have it all marked out on their calendar right now. But that's the way I would try to line it up. I may try to see if I win those first two games in San Francisco. I think I probably have somebody else throw that game other than Pivetta. I'd like Pivetta to throw Game 1 at the Dodgers next week. That's what I think. But we'll see how it goes. Okay, what else we got? Bolts Hearn, what do you think of the Charger lineman Rashawn Slater? Season-ending injury, torn patella tendon. I had that once when I was in college. That's why I didn't play my senior year of basketball at USIU. I tore my patella tendon. I was going to play baseball, and I'd gotten a bunch of shots to try to play. And I finished my basketball season my junior year, and I went out for baseball. And I remember we were doing some drills at UCSD. That's where we trained. And I went to my left, and my knee gave out. And I went over to a guy, the assistant coach, and I said, "You know what? I just can't play. My leg won't allow it." And I ended up having surgery, and that's when I got into coaching. Was in 1979. It was because of that, and I feel really bad for Rashawn Slater because he just signed that big money contract. He's a left tackle. That's a devastating blow for the Chargers. But that seems like it happens to the Chargers more times than not. But Rashawn Slater is one of the best left tackles in all of football. That is a blow, losing your left tackle. I mean, losing a right tackle is bad enough, but losing a left tackle, guarding the blind side of your quarterback like Justin Herbert, that's a devastating blow. And I'm sure today they're and probably last night, they're trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do. But that's a tough blow because I think Rashawn Slater, from what I hear, is a really good guy. But Chargers made him. He signed that contract a little over a week ago. Now he's gone for the entire 2025 season. That is a blow, a big blow. All right, what else we got? You know what I did last night? There was hardly any baseball on. I watched the preseason game that ended up in a tie last night between Pete Carroll, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Seattle Seahawks. That's what I did last night. Oh, my goodness, Dario. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Coach, I need Matsui gone. I need Tatis to step it up too. I'm pissed that he's not been what I thought he could be. Merrill's abysmal too. We would be lost without Laureano and O'Hearn. Concerning. Matsui's a mop-up guy at this point. He's a guy you bring in when you're down 2 or 3 runs or up 3 or 4 runs. That's kind of, his ERA is over 5 right now. So, he's an endangered species. Tatis does need to step it up. I don't want to hear, well, they're doing this and they're doing that. The whole game of baseball is about adjustments. And yesterday, like I am every Thursday, I'm on at 1:30 with the Fletch Zone with Fletch and Sammy Long. And, I read the article by Kevin Acey, and it was a very well-written article, and there were comments in there from Fernando. The one comment was kind of bizarre. He goes, "I'm dealing with my demons or facing my demons." Well, the demons, I guess, are the pitchers that are changing things up on them. But the whole game of baseball is about dealing with adversity, making adjustments, and overcoming them. And, like I said yesterday to the boys on the Fletch Zone, on 760, every ballpark you play in, the mound is 60 feet 6 inches. Every plate in every ballpark is 17 inches wide. They've got to throw the ball over that plate. When they throw it over the plate, you try to hit it. And I know his strikeout rate's down. I know his walk rate's up. That's great. But let's swing the bat. Let's do some damage. They're not paying Fernando to be a punch and Judy hitter. They're paying him to drive the ball out of the ballpark. Even though he's been a leadoff hitter, but you look at his career, he's been a better leadoff hitter than any other spot in the order. So Fernando's got to grow up a little bit, and he's got to find a way to get the job done. I'm tired of alibiing. Okay, get the job done. As far as Merrill, he battled those injuries. He had the concussion. Prior to that, he had the hamstring. He's starting to pick it up, playing a great center field, and he's starting to swing the bat a little bit better. I know the other night he was 0 for 4, but he has swung the bat a little bit better, but the power numbers are way down, way down. Kind of a sophomore jinx, but I don't throw that on him because he did have a couple of injuries. But Matsui, he's a mop-up guy. He's your 13th guy in a pitching staff, and he's an endangered species. So I agree with that. And Laureano's fun to watch. O'Hearn, I think he'll get it going. He's having a great year. I mean, you don't become the designated hitter in the All-Star game for the American League by just being a guy. I mean, the guy can inflict some damage, man. He's hit the ball hard, doesn't have a whole lot to show for it. He got that home run the other night, but only 2 for 13. But he'll get it going. I have no doubt he'll get it going. He's a big, strong guy. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Very much appreciate that, super. All right, folks, that's going to do it. Our big 1 hour show. We'll be back in on Monday morning at 9 a.m. A lot to recap. We'll recap the Padres games against Boston, get you ready for the San Francisco series. We'll give you the update on the strike force. They'll either move on to the IFL title game or they'll be done for the year. And we'll keep you updated on Aztec football as well. Again, please subscribe. Please like. Please turn on your notifications. Again, we're on YouTube, Facebook, and X. And please send in your questions. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks again for tuning into the John Kentera Show, San Diego Sports Talk. Bye-bye.